Let's get this merch. Subscribe to the PDH Network. Alright, y'all see what we got going on here today. As y'all see the thumbnail, y'all read the title under the thumbnail. Yeah, man, today's video is dealing with you guys. Matter of fact, you already know who I'm talking about, man. It's the Paper Route Ops, and that's your Gotti brother Big Jook and his affiliates. Well, I just informed y'all yesterday that one of Big Jook affiliates, he got hit with a couple shells. And they saying the reason why this guy got hit with a couple shells is because of Gotti. Again, a lot of folks is confused that Gotti got released. And I'm not just talking about the folks who want justice for young Dolph's untimely demise. I'm also talking about the guys that's over there affiliated to CMG and Heavy Camp. A lot of them over there confused based on them hearing and seeing Gotti got released on a low bond. See, I'm trying to tell y'all, a lot of folks feel like Gotti, he had to say something. He had to say a couple names that the feds was unfamiliar with. That's the reason why they gave him a bond so low. It's a lot of folks out there in Memphis, they still talking about it's really not Yo Gotti or Big Jook who paid to have young Dolph sent up. It's an OG out there in Memphis that's making a lot of major moves out there. And matter of fact, this same OG, your boy Finesse 2 times, he spoke on it. Your boy Finesse 2 times, before he got out, he say he couldn't go back to Memphis because there's an OG out there that may do him the same way that they did young Dolph. Now, when I seen and heard that, the first thing I thought was, why would Finesse 2 times say that unless he's familiar with the guy who paid to have young Dolph removed? Come on, man. And they saying this is the same OG that's protecting Moneybag Yo. See, I'm just trying to give y'all the basis based on it was a lot of hands involved in taking out young Dolph. And it's messed up because I didn't know that young Dolph had rubbed that many people the wrong way. Always thought young Dolph was a cool cat out there in Memphis. Well, to a lot of folks he is. But to those who trying to make moves based on young Dolph's name and he didn't want that to be done, then they start to look at young Dolph like he a traitor or a op because he won't do what they want him to do. That's the reason why a lot of young Dolph peers and some OGs out there in Memphis was looking at young Dolph sideways. Because again, he wouldn't do what they wanted him to do. And along with that, young Dolph, he had plans to make major moves to not only benefit himself, but those around him and a lot of folks that's in Cat State. Those are the people that young Dolph was always looking out for. Not the guys who always got their hand out, but don't want to do no work. Young Dolph helped out those who was willing to help out themselves. And again, like I told you guys before, all the people that was involved in taking out young Dolph, they didn't understand how much love that young Dolph had across the globe. Matter of fact, before we get into it, let's first pay our respects and say rest in peace to young Dolph, condolences to his family, and much love to all my folks in Dolph land. Hey, all my folks in the 901, y'all stay patient because we will soon get justice for young Dolph's untimely demise. So basically, they saying that Gotti may have spoke on the same OG that Finesse 2 times was talking about. And if Gotti did, man, somebody want that dude out the way. That's real talk, man. See, like I told y'all before, and like a lot of folks is aware of, that the reason why they gave Gotti such a low bond, because they wanted to see who gonna pay it. Because like they say, you want to know who making major moves out there, you gotta follow the money. And not just that, they watching every move that Gotti is making out there. Every person that Gotti hanging around, they looking them up to see what kind of criminal activity they was involved in. I mean, come on, man. If y'all think about it, there was a lot of hands that was involved with taking out young Dolph. But see, everybody that was involved in taking out young Dolph, they was connected one way or the other. They was connected in the streets or through family. So it wasn't hard to get that many people involved, especially when you talking about giving them a bag. Everybody gonna act like they loyal for that money. You understand? And that's the same thing that young Dolph had thought about Straight Drop. See, when Straight Drop came to young Dolph, he came to young Dolph based on Straight Drop. He was trying to get into the rap game. On the outside looking in, that's what it seemed like. But young Dolph and Key Glock, they didn't know that straight drop. He was already paid off to infiltrate Paper Route. And that's what he did. He watched everywhere that young Dolph went and every person that young Dolph had spoke to, just so he can report back to Big Jook and Yo Gotti to let them know everything that young Dolph was getting into. Matter of fact, they said that straight drop, he was actually reporting to his uncle, because his uncle is the one that got him set up with Big Jook and that Memphis OG. So straight drop could know his position and what he was getting paid for. Cause I'm trying to tell y'all, it was straight drop and Cornelius Smith uncles that got them involved. The uncles got the nephews involved with Big Jook and the OG out there in Memphis to take out young Dolph. And we already know that most of these guys, they was just paid off pawns. Except for your boy Black Youngster. He was Yo Gotti and Big Jook's knight. So at this time, Yo Gotti and Big Jook, they just distancing themselves from Black Youngster. Because again, they already seeing that the feds, they moving in. I believe Big Jook, he's aware of the fact that they using his boy Govin to help bring down CMG for setting up young Dolph. Yeah, man, it's just messed up the way they did young Dolph. I didn't know young Dolph had ruffled this many people's feathers. Like I said before, man, it's only a bunch of people who had a bunch of jealousy and hate for him. Because a lot of the youth that's out there in Memphis, they had love for young Dolph. It's just that based on where they was from, they had to choose sides. They had to choose PRE and CMG. Again, which a lot of folks in Memphis, they didn't want to do. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, they wanted to see PRE and CMG maybe one day work together. That's what that Memphis OG was trying to set up with Yo Gotti and young Dolph. That's the same meeting that young Dolph had missed, where they were supposed to have been squashing that beef between CMG and PRE, where not even Black Youngster could perpetuate that beef. And I'm trying to tell y'all, man, once I heard that it was an OG that Yo Gotti and Big Jook was reporting to, man, I knew right there on the spot that this OG, he was the real plug out there in Memphis. I knew then he had people on the streets and people on the department on his side. And we all know it's like that when you keeping folks fed. So he gonna use the guys in the streets and the people up that ladder, I'm talking about politics, to assist in setting young Dolph up. But I'm gonna keep it real, man. To me, it's just messed up that a lot of these older cats, they was using the youth to carry out their criminal activity. That's why it's confusing for somebody like Govin, the one who said he orchestrated and paid to have young Dolph set up, for him to get released on such a low bond. Again, Govin, he admitted to having his hands in the cookie jar with taking out young Dolph. But on the other side, you have Straight Drop and Cornelius Smith. They both saying they not guilty. They both stating they ain't have anything to do with taking out young Dolph. But they ain't get no bond. I mean, y'all gotta be aware of what's really going on here. So not do I only have a problem with them taking out young Dolph, somebody who was actually doing and benefiting the whole community in Memphis. Somebody who was actually benefiting the whole community in Memphis. But it's messed up that they was using the youth to get involved in criminal activity to mess up their future. And that's why I always say, black men, we have to do a better job at protecting one another. Even protecting the youth from older guys that want to use them, again, to carry out criminal activity that we know is not going to do anything to benefit the city, but actually tear it down. And like I told y'all before, since CEO Daddy O is known as an OG out there in Memphis, he's also familiar with this OG that's making a lot of moves that allegedly paid to have young Dolph sent up. But like I stated before, man, with Govin being released, it ruffled a lot of feathers. And not just the folks who want justice for young Dolph, but also the guys that's affiliated to Yo Gotti and his brother Big Jook. They want to know what Govin had told them people to get a bond release just 2 days before Yo Gotti's B-Day. So right there, that should let y'all know. Always be aware and always stay prepared. But hey, we got more in store. As always, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it's worth. Let's get this merch. Subscribe to the PDH Network.